Have you ever wondered why some people seem to move through life with an almost frightening level of focus, while everyone else is trapped in endless distraction? It's not luck, and it's not talent. It's something far more dangerous. We live in an age where attention is the most valuable currency, and yet most people give it away freely, without even realizing it. Every vibration of your phone, every argument online, every emotional reaction steals a piece of your focus, one fragment at a time. Until one day there's nothing left for your own goals, your own vision, your own power. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this long before our modern chaos began. To him, focus wasn't a virtue, it was a weapon. He saw that the one who masters his attention masters the world around him. While the masses drown in noise, the strategist moves silently, deliberate, calculating, untouchable. You've seen people like this, the ones who don't react, who don't chase validation, who seem to exist on a different frequency. They make decisions that others can't comprehend. Their calm feels intimidating, even unnatural. You've probably felt it before, that quiet presence that makes you question your own composure. But here's the truth Machiavelli would whisper to you. Focus comes with a price. To be truly focused, you must be willing to detach from everything that seeks to control you, the opinions of others, the comfort of distraction, the emotional noise of everyday life. And that's where most people fail. They want power, but they don't want the isolation that comes with it. They want clarity, but not the silence it demands. Have you ever noticed how the more you try to stay focused, the more the world tries to pull you away from it? It's not random, it's designed that way. Every platform, every headline, every conversation competes for your mental energy, because a distracted mind is an easy mind to control. Machiavelli would say that rulers have always understood this, that the surest way to keep people weak is to keep them reactive. But imagine if you could turn that around. Imagine if your mind became so disciplined that nothing external could break your concentration. Imagine moving through conflict, temptation, and chaos without losing your inner direction. That's the kind of focus Machiavelli admired. Cold, strategic, and dangerously effective. The kind of focus that makes people respect you or fear you. What you're about to discover in this video goes far beyond productivity tips or motivational talk. This is about reclaiming your mental sovereignty, about seeing through the illusions that steal your attention and learning to command your mind like a true strategist. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand how Machiavelli viewed focus, you'll never look at distraction or power the same way again. You see, the moment you start protecting your focus, the world begins to test you. People will misinterpret your silence. They'll call you distant, arrogant, or cold. But that's the reaction of those who depend on your distraction to feel significant. The truth is, the more you discipline your attention, the more uncomfortable it becomes for others, because your presence forces them to confront their own lack of control. And that's exactly why focus is dangerous. It doesn't just change how you think, it changes how others behave around you. If what we've explored so far resonates with you, take a moment to share your thoughts below. I'm genuinely interested in how this idea of focus, not the motivational kind but the ruthless kind, shows up in your life. Have you ever felt that pull between clarity and chaos? Or noticed how difficult it is to stay calm when everyone around you reacts emotionally? Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. And if this message has already made you reflect in some way, consider liking this video. It might seem like a small gesture, but it's one of the ways this channel continues to grow and reach people who are searching for the same kind of wisdom you are. Every like, every comment, every subscription tells the algorithm that content like this matters, that people still want depth, not noise. If you want to keep diving into this kind of knowledge, psychology, philosophy, the mindset of power, make sure you're subscribed. That's how you stay close to this community of people who think differently, who seek control, not over others, but over themselves. Because what we're building here isn't just a channel, it's a movement of strategic minds, learning to rise above distraction and reclaim their strength. Now let's go even deeper, because Machiavelli's concept of focus wasn't about discipline alone. It was about dominance over your own attention, and that's where things start to get truly dangerous. For Machiavelli, focus was never about being efficient or finishing a to-do list. It was about domination, the ability to control where your mind goes, what it consumes, and what it ignores. He saw focus as the invisible throne from which power is ruled, Because whoever commands their attention commands their actions, and whoever commands their actions commands their destiny. Productivity, in his view, was just the surface. Beneath it lived something far deeper, mastery of the self. And that mastery begins when you understand that distraction isn't harmless. It's a form of control. Every time you allow your emotions, your environment, or another person to dictate what you think about, you surrender a piece of your sovereignty. The distracted mind doesn't notice this theft because it feels busy, active, alive. But Machiavelli would call that illusion the perfect disguise for weakness. He believed that the powerful appear calm because their minds are ordered. They can see the chaos without becoming it. It's not about suppressing emotion, it's about directing it, turning every surge of feeling into deliberate motion. Focus, in its purest form, is the alignment of attention and intention. It's when your energy, thoughts, and actions move in one direction without friction. That's what makes it so rare. Most people never experience it because they chase too many things, react to too many impulses, and confuse movement with progress. True focus strips life to its essentials: purpose, discipline, control. Everything else is noise. Machiavelli understood that power doesn't come from constant action but from strategic restraint. To hold your focus when others scatter theirs is to gain an advantage they can't see. He observed that rulers who lost their attention soon lost their authority. The same is true today, not in kingdoms, but in the inner empire of your mind. The person who can resist distraction becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. Now I want to go even deeper into this idea because it hides a truth most people never face. Focus isn't something you practice once, it's something you protect every day. It demands that you question your habits, your emotional triggers, even the people you let close to you. It's not easy, but that difficulty is the filter separating those who drift from those who rise. So as you listen, take a moment to reflect on how much of your focus still belongs to you and how much you've already given away. Write it down, think about it, and if this perspective hits something real inside you, comment below. This makes sense to me. Then keep your mind open, because we're about to uncover what it truly means to weaponize your attention. Most people will never be focused because they don't realize how addicted they are to noise. Not just the external kind, the endless scrolls, messages, and opinions, but the internal noise that whispers doubts and distractions in their own minds. They wake up reacting before they even think, giving their energy away to things that have nothing to do with their purpose. And the world rewards this behavior. Every app, every headline, every controversy is designed to keep you emotionally engaged but mentally scattered. Because when your attention is fractured, you are easy to influence, easy to sell to, easy to control. Machiavelli understood that this addiction to reaction is the death of power. He believed that a ruler must see everything, but respond to almost nothing. In silence, he gathers information. In calmness, he makes decisions. The reactive man, on the other hand, becomes a puppet of every stimulus around him. He is constantly pulled by the strings of emotion, outrage, and impulse. And when you live like that, you think you're alive, but you're actually being used. The truth is, distraction isn't just entertainment. It's a modern form of manipulation. Every notification, every argument, every moment of digital validation rewires your brain to crave stimulation over stillness. And stillness is where real focus is born. That's why most people never reach it. It feels uncomfortable. Sitting in silence makes them anxious, not powerful. They mistake calm for boredom because they've forgotten how to exist without constant input. But Machiavelli would see that as a weakness of discipline. A man who cannot control his attention cannot control his fate. True focus feels lonely at first. You'll notice how few people around you are willing to protect their peace. You'll be surrounded by noise, yet you'll choose silence. You'll hear opinions, but you won't engage. You'll be provoked, but you won't react. And in that restraint, something shifts. You begin to see patterns others can't see, opportunities others miss. You start moving strategically instead of emotionally. That's when you stop being predictable. Now I want to go even deeper into this truth, because behind every distraction there's a hidden fear, a fear of seeing yourself clearly. That's why most people will never face silence long enough to find focus. They don't want revelation, they want relief. But when you choose revelation, you start to uncover the hidden architecture of your own mind. Comment below if this resonates with you. I'm done reacting. Focus is not the peaceful state people imagine. It's sharp, surgical, almost violent in its precision. It cuts through the unnecessary with no hesitation. Every time you choose focus, you are, in essence, killing distraction. You're rejecting comfort, dismissing approval, and silencing every voice that doesn't serve your purpose. That's why so few people can handle it. True focus feels like a battle, not a meditation. It demands that you remove everything that weakens your clarity, emotions that cloud judgment, relationships that pull you off your path, and habits that waste your momentum. When you reach that level of intensity, something shifts inside you. You stop needing validation. You stop explaining yourself to people who will never understand your mission. You no longer chase recognition because you've learned that external approval is the cheapest form of power. Machiavelli would call this the moment when a man steps out of the crowd and begins to rule himself. Because focus, when mastered, becomes a weapon, quiet, invisible, and devastatingly effective. People will sense it without you saying a word. They'll notice the distance in your eyes, the calm in your reactions, the way you no longer participate in their chaos. That energy intimidates, even without aggression. You don't need to dominate through force. Your discipline speaks for you. The world is drawn to power and focus radiates it. The more silent and intentional you become, the more others reveal themselves. Through their impatience, their lack of direction, their need to be seen. Your restraint exposes their restlessness. But this weapon has a cost. It isolates you from the noise, and with that silence comes confrontation. The confrontation with yourself. Every distraction you remove forces you to face what's been hiding beneath it. Your doubts, your fears, your unfulfilled ambitions. Most people never reach this stage because it's easier to stay busy than to face truth. But Machiavelli would say that only through this ruthless clarity can real strength emerge. Now, I want to go even deeper into this idea, because focus, when fully sharpened, doesn't just protect you, it changes how you move through the world. It transforms decision-making, emotion, and even presence itself. It becomes not just something you use, but something you are. Comment below if you feel that shift beginning. My focus is my weapon. Machiavelli understood something that most people today completely overlook. Clarity doesn't come from adding more, it comes from cutting away. The modern mind believes success is built through accumulation, more tools, more goals, more connections, more information. But Machiavelli would laugh at that idea. He knew that the mind grows sharper through subtraction, not expansion. To focus means to cut the noise, cut the comfort, cut the people who quietly drain your mission. Every act of elimination is an act of control, a declaration that your time and attention belong only to what serves your greater purpose. Think about it. Every distraction in your life is a small surrender of sovereignty. Every unnecessary commitment you accept, every conversation that leads nowhere, every hour spent seeking comfort instead of progress, it all fragments your power. And when your energy is divided, your influence disappears. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must be ruthless with his own priorities, guarding them like a fortress. The strength of that fortress depends on what's left outside the walls. You can't defend everything, so you must decide what truly matters. This strategy of elimination isn't about coldness, it's about discipline. It's the art of creating space for clarity. When you start removing, something unexpected happens. Silence begins to reveal the truth. You start seeing patterns that were hidden beneath clutter. The voices in your head grow quieter, and a new one emerges, the one that actually knows what you want. That voice was never gone. It was just buried under noise. But here's the challenge. Cutting things away feels like loss at first. You'll feel guilt for saying no. You'll fear missing opportunities or disappointing people. That's how the world keeps you compliant, through guilt and distraction. Yet every time you eliminate something that doesn't align with your path, you reclaim a piece of your strength. The fewer things that pull at your attention, the more power you have to move with precision. Now, I want to go even deeper into this mindset because elimination is only the first step. Once the noise fades, what remains is silence. And silence is not empty. It's where real focus is forged. It's where strategy takes shape. Comment below if this truth resonates with you. I'm cutting the noise. To be dangerously focused, you must learn the art of emotional detachment, not the cold, lifeless kind people misunderstand, but the deliberate control over when and how you feel. Most people are slaves to their emotions. They get angry when provoked, sad when rejected, proud when praised. Their state of mind belongs to everyone but themselves. Machiavelli saw this as one of humanity's greatest weaknesses. He believed that emotions are not meant to dominate us, but to serve us, as tools of power, not obstacles to it. The one who commands his emotions commands his destiny. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop reacting. It's the ability to observe what's happening without losing your center. Imagine being insulted and feeling nothing but clarity. Imagine facing betrayal and responding with strategy instead of rage. That level of control doesn't come naturally. It's built through awareness and repetition. Machiavelli would say that the world respects those who cannot be easily moved because their composure unsettles others. People fear what they cannot emotionally manipulate. When you start mastering this kind of detachment, something remarkable happens. Your decisions become cleaner. You stop making choices out of impulse or insecurity. You act from intention, not reaction. And that shift alone separates leaders from followers, rulers from the ruled. The detached mind is free to think, plan, and execute, while others drown in their emotions. In the battlefield of influence, whether political, social, or personal, emotion is both weapon and weakness. Use it consciously, and it amplifies your power. Lose control of it, and it consumes you. But detachment comes at a psychological cost. The more you rise above emotional chaos, the lonelier the air becomes. People misread your calm as arrogance, your silence as apathy. They won't understand that what you've really done is reclaim your freedom. You've stopped letting the world pull the strings of your inner state, and that scares them, because deep down they wish they could do the same. Now I want to go even deeper into this truth, because once you learn to detach emotionally, you begin to access a level of clarity that most will never experience. A clarity that transforms how you think, how you act, and how you see others. Comment below if you're ready for that kind of control. I choose clarity. Machiavelli would have built his day like a fortress, not just to keep enemies out, but to keep himself in. His mornings would begin not with distraction, but with deliberate clarity. Every action, every conversation, every movement of thought would be filtered through intention. Nothing spontaneous, nothing reactive. Because he knew that focus doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's engineered. It's built through design, through repetition, through the quiet rituals that strengthen the mind the way training strengthens the body. Mental fortification begins before the world touches you. It starts in silence, before messages, before opinions, before noise. The moment you wake, your mind is unguarded, vulnerable to intrusion. Most people hand it away immediately. They open their phones, scroll through chaos, and allow strangers to dictate their emotional state. Machiavelli would never have allowed that. He would begin his day like a strategist surveying a battlefield, observing, assessing, setting priorities before engaging. Because once your attention is invaded, it's no longer yours. He would schedule his solitude with precision. Reading, reflection, and planning would not be luxuries but necessities. The mind, he believed, must be trained to anticipate manipulation and chaos. And that kind of awareness doesn't come from reacting all day. It comes from thinking deeply, moving slowly, and deciding deliberately. His routine would look cold from the outside, but internally, it would be alive with strategy. Every task would have a purpose. Every pause would be tactical. Even rest would serve efficiency. Modern life has made this kind of discipline rare. People confuse busyness with productivity and noise with importance. They live surrounded by open doors, emotional, digital, mental, and then wonder why they feel drained. Machiavelli's fortress of focus teaches the opposite: to guard what enters your mind as fiercely as you guard your life. Your time, your energy, your clarity, they are limited weapons, and once they're spent on trivialities, they're gone. Now I want to go even deeper into this mindset, because mental fortification isn't only about isolation, it's about transformation. It's about creating a structure so strong that even chaos bends around it instead of breaking through. Comment below if this idea resonates with you. My mind is my fortress. Most people spend their lives avoiding pain, as if discomfort were a sign of failure. They numb it, hide from it, distract themselves until the feeling fades. But Machiavelli saw pain differently, not as punishment, but as purification. To him, suffering was the fire that burned away weakness. Every betrayal, every failure, every insult had a purpose: to harden the mind and strip it of illusions. Because only when everything unnecessary has been taken from you do you see what truly matters. Pain in this sense becomes a sculptor, carving clarity from chaos. He would say that the difference between the powerful and the powerless lies not in what they endure, but in how they use it. Most people let pain scatter their focus. The few turn it into fuel. When you stop running from discomfort and start studying it, something shifts. The very thing that once distracted you becomes your teacher. You learn how to stand in the storm without flinching. Betrayal teaches you discernment. Failure teaches you precision. Humiliation teaches you restraint. Machiavelli would call this transformation the refinement of the strategist, the ability to convert emotional energy into directed power. But turning pain into concentration requires awareness. It's not automatic. You have to choose it. Every time your ego wants revenge, every time your emotions demand reaction, instead of collapsing into anger or despair, you pause, you breathe, you analyze. And in that space between impulse and response, you build something few people ever touch: composure under fire. That's where true focus is born. Pain is a test, but it's also a mirror. It shows you what still controls you. When someone's words can shatter your peace, it means you've given them access to your mind. Machiavelli would advise you to reclaim that power, not by fighting harder, but by focusing deeper. Let pain narrow your vision until all that remains is purpose. Let it strip away every false identity until only strength remains. Now I want to go even deeper into this truth, because once you learn to channel pain instead of fleeing from it, your perception of struggle changes completely. It no longer weakens you, it concentrates you. Comment below if you feel that shift taking shape. Pain fuels my focus. When you reach this level of focus, something in your presence changes long before you ever speak. It's not what you say, it's what you no longer need to say. People feel it the moment you walk into a room, the stillness, the precision, the quiet intensity that surrounds you. Your silence becomes heavier than other people's words. Your gaze no longer wanders, it observes. Your posture no longer seeks approval, it commands it. Machiavelli would call this the invisible armor of the disciplined mind, the aura of someone who has mastered himself. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth when your focus speaks for you. In a world addicted to validation, restraint is rare, and rare things are powerful. People instinctively sense control. They can't always explain it, but they respond to it. Some feel admiration, others feel discomfort, because your calm exposes their chaos. Your composure forces them to confront their own lack of discipline. That's why the aura of focus often attracts both respect and resentment. The same stillness that inspires some will intimidate others. This quiet dominance isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's the external reflection of an internal order. The mind that no longer reacts impulsively radiates stability, and stability in a world of volatility looks like power. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler's greatest strength was not his army, but the perception of his control. The same is true today. You don't need to raise your voice or chase influence. The consistency of your focus does it for you. But this aura isn't something you can fake. It's built through thousands of unseen choices, the temptations resisted, the emotions mastered, the distractions ignored. Each small act of discipline adds weight to your presence, and eventually, you become the kind of person whose silence demands attention, the kind of person others study quietly, trying to understand what makes you different. The truth is, it's not mystery, it's mastery. Now I want to go even deeper into this state of being, because the aura of focus isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning of transformation. It's when control turns into influence and influence becomes legacy. Comment below if this resonates with you. My silence speaks power. Machiavelli's message echoes across centuries with the same cold precision it had when he first wrote it. Power belongs to those who can hold their focus when everyone else is losing theirs. But there's a deeper layer most people miss. Being focused is not enough. Anyone can focus for a day, for a project, for a fleeting moment of motivation. To be dangerously focused, you must detach from the world's noise entirely and return again and again to your mission with unwavering clarity. That level of focus reshapes your life. It filters your decisions, sharpens your instincts, and refines your character. Until distraction no longer feels tempting, it feels beneath you. Machiavelli would remind you that the world is built to pull you away from yourself. Every device, every opinion, every emotional trigger exists to keep you reactive. But when you choose to step out of that cycle, when you decide that your attention is sacred, something irreversible happens. You begin to see the game from above. You stop playing by the rules of chaos and start writing your own. That's the moment you transition. From being part of the crowd to becoming the strategist watching it. This kind of focus isn't glamorous, it's not loud. It's quiet, consistent, even lonely at times. But in that solitude, you find something priceless: direction. You begin to understand that focus isn't about doing more, it's about becoming more. Each act of restraint, each moment of silence, each deliberate choice builds an invisible empire inside you. And once that empire stands firm, no external force can shake it. That's the path Machiavelli walked, and the one he left behind for those who dare to follow. Not everyone will, because it demands sacrifice, but those who do will move through life with a calm authority that cannot be faked. They will command attention without asking for it, and shape outcomes without forcing them. If this message struck something in you, if it reminded you of what you're capable of when you silence the noise, then leave your mark below. Write, "I choose focus." Let it be more than a comment, let it be a commitment. Because once you choose focus, truly choose it, nothing in the world can take it from you. Now let's continue down this path of mastery, because this is where the real transformation begins. If you made it all the way here, it says something about you. Most people drift off halfway through, but you stayed, and that already separates you from the crowd. It means this message hit something real, maybe a truth you already knew deep down, but needed to hear again. If that's the case, take a second and let me know you're still here. Write in the comments, "I'm here till the end." I read them, and it's always powerful to see how many of us are walking this same path, quietly focused, building strength from within. And if this kind of content speaks to you, if it gives you new perspective or brings you closer to the mindset you're trying to build, make sure you're subscribed. That's how you stay connected to this space, a place made for people who think differently, who want to rise above noise and act with intention. Before you go, if this message resonated, give it a like. It helps more than you realize, and it tells me these ideas are worth diving even deeper into. There's another video right here that expands on this same idea of power and control. It connects perfectly with what we've just explored. Click on it and keep going with me. The journey doesn't end here. This is just the beginning of your focus becoming something unshakable.